All right. We are live. Um, I'm James. Chip, say hi to everybody.
How's it going?
Tonight we are going to be talking about, I think most everybody knows with the weather that's going on right now, what we've had in the past week. If some of y'all don't know, I live in Texas. I live in Brenham, Texas. That's right in between Houston and Austin. Um, our winters are not bad at all. We might get, especially where I live, we might get 20 degrees, 20 something, uh, a couple of days, and then it's back in the 70s. Um, so we really don't deal with harsh weather like this. North Texas, by all means, gets a lot colder, but nothing like this either. And for it to get to the point where it's freezing down in Galveston and stuff like that, I mean, it was pretty harsh. And here in the state of Texas, we're not, people make jokes about not being able to drive in the snow and stuff like that, but it's not the snow. It's the fact that here in Texas, we don't have like what people do up north. Our houses are not made for this shit, or piping. Our roads aren't marked. People don't go out plowing fucking streets and shit. They're not laying salt and sand or whatever it is y'all, do. So, and we're not, or power grids, all this shit, it's not ready for stuff like this. So we're not used to having power outages like the people up north do during their winters. So, all jokes aside and whatnot, that's pretty much the reason why there's people who are losing their animals. There's a lot of people who actually died here because of the extreme weather and whatnot, which is extremely sad. So part of the reason I got Chip Indo on here, he lives up in North Dakota. It gets fucking cold up there. I have him on here to talk about what they do, because he has reptiles and stuff like that. And hell, even if you don't have reptiles, there's little tricks and things. The first thing that pops in my head is make sure you have a generator. But there's other things you can do besides going out and buying a generator. And I don't know what they are, but he does. So, anyway, here in a minute, I'm going to let him have it, and he's going to talk about the winter and stuff like that they have up there, and kind of like what they do. And hopefully everybody can maybe take some notes and whatnot. And if this happens again, which I'm sure it will, maybe won't have all the loss of lives, human and animals that, alike. So go ahead, Chip. What's up, buddy?
Hey, James. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on a few things because where I live in North Dakota, I live in western North Dakota on the Montana border. And not all of North Dakota gets as extreme as where I live. I actually, if anybody's ever looked at a weather map, they show jet streams coming down. Well, where I live right where jet streams collide. So we actually get the most extreme weather, up to 50 to 60 degrees below zero without the wind chill. And we can have up to 80-mile-an-hour winds. It gets cold. At those points, vehicles freeze, trucks freeze, houses start to break. It doesn't matter that we're prepped. Stuff gets bad. So I've lived up here a little over 11 years now, and I've learned some things to cope with the cold, and all the way from if you don't have a large budget to if you have unlimited funds. I'm going to talk about everything that you can do to help with your animals and your living situation if you have come into contact with this kind of extreme weather. Texas, their houses, their insulation, the conduits, the pipes, the drainage, none of that is meant to go below zero. It can handle 32, but when you hit that below zero mark, you're going into a different type of cold. And then when you bring wind into it, wind chill is a bullshit expression. All that is the wind can carry the heat away quicker, depending on what mile an hour it is. So when they say, oh, it's a wind chill of -10, but it's 5 degrees out, it's because it's taking the heat away faster than what you can sustain it at. So there's little tips that if you're keeping small reptiles, hatchlings, stuff like that, if you don't have a lot of money, a really great thing to do that you can put in your closet, it isn't going to break the bank for emergencies, is you buy a bunch of hot hands and heat packs for shipping. They are great because you can pull these animals out and, yes, put them together, your smaller animals, smaller snakes, stuff like that, and wrap the hot hands in thin towels, put them in tubs, get them off the ground. I don't care what kind, if you've got a rug, concrete, linoleum, get it off the ground and set it up on a little platform, whether it's a grate or pieces of wood. Get it in there that your tub will start warming up, and you want to check it because it can get overheated, but getting those smaller animals in there, you can keep the heat going. Now, if you're stepping up to bigger animals and you don't have tubs to keep them in, or your reptile room or your cage or whatever, go to any department store, any Home Depot, your local hardware store, pick up 2 3/4, 3-inch PVC pipe. Get 2 to 4 feet of it, even if you got 6-foot cages and whatnot. And if you've got a gas stove, this will work. If you've got an electric, it won't. But boil water. Seal off one end of the PVC. Pour the boiling water down the PVC. Screw cap the other end. Now you have a really massively hot tube of water. Stick it in your cage. That snake will go, or that lizard will go and hover it. It'll be hot and it'll want to get close to it. So if it's too hot for you to even touch, wrap a towel around it. But stick it in that cage, and you'll have to keep on doing that over and over again because obviously it's going to cool down. But you'll be able to produce enough heat that animal will hold on to that and it'll be able to keep it warm. Towels are your friend in every situation in the cold because they can insulate really quick. So that's another little trick. Here's one that's even more desperation. Your stove, your oven. Your oven seals tight. Throw some hot hands in the oven on the bottom. Put your reptiles that you can put in a tub and shove them in the oven and close the door. Don't turn your oven on. Don't be an idiot like that. But the oven will hold the heat because your oven cooks your food. And after you're done making a meal, you usually have to keep the oven open or else it's going to take longer to cool down. But oven holds heat really well. So stick your reptiles in a tub, put them in the oven, and if it's still not warm enough, like I said, put hot hands or heat packs, just throw them in the bottom of the oven below the grate, slide it in there, shut the door, and you can replace the hot hand. Same concept with the tub, only it's an oven. If you don't have a tub or you can't get in the cool area in the house, or if every area in the house is cool and that tub's going to cool off quick, your oven. Next thing you can do is invest or even go find broke down deep freezers or refrigerators. Same concept, either hot hands or a PVC tube with hot water. Stick your reptiles in there like an incubator, but stick that stuff in there that creates heat. Get it up to temperature, something that seals that you cannot lose heat with. And if you have no power, this is great to do. Otherwise, there's old school methods. I'm going to keep a snake, but if you've got multiple animals, you need multiple room to do this stuff. And depending how fast your house is dropping in heat, whether you can do the tubs, whether you can get a junker freezer or refrigerator or the oven trick. You got to think about things that hold heat naturally when the power goes out and can't create heat. And in Texas, the plumbing's shot. Now, if you're going for long periods of time, make sure you have jugs of water on hand and somewhere where it won't freeze. So, because these animals are going to get dehydrated. Their body temperature might be cooling down. They might be going dormant, but you're still going to keep water in there and start cycling stuff out. But make sure when you give that water, that it's not cold whatsoever. There's a lot of people that room temperature water. That's great when you have a heating system, but you might want to warm up the water slightly or keep it warmer somewhere, somehow. Get it maybe your body temperature, 98 degrees, hold water in there, a pack, something like that. Heat it up on the stove just a little bit, let it cool down, use your temp gun, get it around there. So if they drink that, that's a little bit extra warmth going in their body. It's all these little things that you have to do. I seen that. What about propane heaters? Propane heaters are great. The problem is the fumes, Chris. If your house, if the outside of your house freezes, and every house has natural ventilation, so it gets oxygen. But if you've got your house covered in ice or snow and you don't have good ventilation anymore and you can't open a window to fan it out, you got propane exhaust, whether you can see it or not, going through your house, and it still can be damaging. Is it a last resort? Is it something that if that's all you got, use it? But it's not the safest method. I've used propane heaters before and everything else. The best thing if you're going to do portable heaters is you're going to have to get a little baby generator. Those Honda generators are great, but they're more expensive. Not everybody, most people that are working 9-to-5 jobs can't afford a little generator. They're pretty damn expensive for the most people. Not like the wall one. No, I know what you're talking about. They're called little buddy heaters. They hook up. You can literally carry them everywhere. They still put off exhaust. And that smell when you're starting it off, propane does burn clean, but you still have an exhaust and it's trapped. That's why you don't really cook with it outside of stuff. And every stove that's natural gas usually has a vent to get everything out, and your fire alarms and everything else. They work great, but they are also not consistent with heat, the little portable ones. They might have a temperature gauge on it, but they're not always reliable, and they can burn out quick, or they can overheat or underheat. It's really hard to regulate them. And plus, what if you don't have both propane, or you can't stash both propane and from a gas station? Because I guarantee you in Texas, when all this happened, everybody went to every corner gas station, every supermarket, and grabbed a grill size propane tank to use something like that to heat their house with. I'm talking about it like for emergency situations for people on a small budget. You can use propane if you have it readily available, but I wouldn't suggest it because it can cause some breathing issues. The filaments also in the portable heaters can really cook, and it's not wise. Like there was an instance where we have a truck stop in this town, and the power went out and the backup generator went out, and they used a bunch of buddy heaters with propane because they had an unlimited amount. They had to shut all the propane down because the carbon monoxide detectors started going off because the amount of propane getting used to heat the building. So you, as a last resort, yeah, that can work, but it's not exactly the safest. Plus, if you happen to buy a faulty one, they can blow up. I've seen them. I've seen it out on oil field rigs where guys are using buddy heaters, and the little check valve that's in there malfunctioned, and it sprayed propane everywhere and blew the buddy heater up. And it's not good. But on the next price level is a generator, but you don't have to buy the biggest and the best. Honda, by far, is industry standard, just an awesome one. If you're in West Texas or South Texas and you know somebody with a welder, a big arc welder, they put off a lot of energy. You can almost heat a house with them. But go online and buying a little gas-powered generator, sitting it outside of your house is awesome, but you've got to put additive in the fuel when you're dropping below zero. Even though it's gasoline, it still builds condensation and your motor can die, so you have to put additive in it. And you can run little electric space heaters and stuff like that off of it. But getting hot water, heat packs, big thermal heat pads. Even if you're dirt poor, if you've got long underwear or those Under Armour bodysuits, wrap animals up in them. It holds heat. Outside animals, bringing them in, you're going to have a lot harder time with your big lizards and stuff like that. Your bathroom is going to be your best area because of all the plumbing that's going on. Your hot water heater is obviously not going to be working if it's solid electric. But if you use your bathtub, get heat mats that you can buy at hardware stores and stuff, heat reflector mats. They're cheap. They're usually silver. Line the bathtub with it. But you got to do it quick. Don't let that thing sit out because it'll hold cold temperature too. Not only that, again, hot hands underneath or hot hands on top or heat packs or whatever. Put the lizard on top of that. Cover that lizard up with it. Shut it around there. That bathtub will be an insulator. And you can do the best you can if you've got a really big lizard. Bearded dragons, everybody knows that bearded dragons take a super extreme hot spot. And it's really hard on them if you even drop to 70 degrees, it's hard on them. You're really going to want to wrap that animal up as tight as possible so it doesn't expend any energy. Keep it off of surfaces. Blankets, thermal blankets, hats. Wrap the animal up with as much layers as you can while keeping the nose exposed so it can breathe. But they lose body heat the quickest. There's a ton of people that have bearded dragons, and I'm sure with this weather, you might not hear about it, but I guarantee you there's so many people in Texas that lost bearded dragons because they can die really easy if they don't get the proper heat for a long period of time. The best thing to do is just plan ahead. My house gets cold. I have everything downstairs in concrete basement that's lined. My windows get covered up when it gets extremely cold with that insulation. So anything can happen because even on a window, I don't care if you got Pella double paned, great. You hit below zero, that cold is going to start coming through that window no matter what. It's just going to start radiating and your windows can explode. I literally was on a phone call with somebody and my westerly window that faces Montana was solid sheet of ice. Solid. My power wasn't out or anything. My house was 75 degrees and my window was a solid piece of ice that if I touched it, it would have exploded. So it's nothing to joke around with, but the biggest thing you've got to be is prepared. Everybody screams generators, but not everybody can afford them. If you can, get one. There's no doubt about it. Get 50 gallons of gas for it. Have it in the corner. Great. You have a generator. You're set. You're going to be fine. But for the people that can't afford it, these little tips, and also use common sense. What holds heat? And don't wait till the animals start getting cold. That power goes out, you're hearing stories, you're feeling cold, get those animals taken care of right away. Do not hesitate. Don't wait till these animals are getting cold because the quicker you can keep them on heat, the quicker you can make sure that they don't drop temp, the more likelihood is they're going to survive fine. But it's preparation. Have a plan. Write it down. It's prepper shit, It's the same concept, and I feel really bad. I've been sending messages to my Texas friends on everything, even your household stuff with your pipes. I messaged James. I asked him how his pipes were doing. If you still got power and you're below zero, your pipes are still going to freeze. You have to find where your water intake and your sewage comes in and out of your house. Put a space heater on it immediately. The outside where the city's in charge of it might freeze up and break, but your inside of your house, you won't get busted pipes or you won't get flooded. And that's going to cost you money if that happens. So get space heaters, but you got to find wherever it is in your house. I don't care if you got a crawl space, basement, flat, find where it enters your house, the main going into your house, get a space heater on it. Get it wrapped up by heat cord, plug it in, do whatever you have to do. Make sure where it's coming into your house has heat on it, or you're going to be in a lot of trouble if those pipes are old or they weren't put in correctly.
Right. And I think the key thing, especially, the people that live in Texas or in the South general, in general, that I can speak for me being in Texas and most of us here in Texas, is even the ones that we thought that we were prepared, we weren't, because we never gone through this. Every year, it's going to be cold, but it's cold for a little bit, then it starts warming up. So the key thing I know for me, and what I'm taking from all this and just going through it, and I was truly blessed not to lose power. I'm surprised that we didn't. But like I said, truly blessed not to have that happen to me. But that being said, I could have been prepared, a lot more with everything that was going on. So the key thing is with everything bad that has happened or still happening is take note and be ready for it next time, because it probably will happen again. So
absolutely.
When you think you're prepared, you're really not. Make sure that like if you can get a generator, get a generator. All these things that Chip said, that's great. I never once thought about it. So it's great ideas that can, help us out. So just be more prepared is the key thing though. So.
And that's the thing, I see it's not just in the reptile community, but I've seen all over Facebook. I got friends up here. They're making memes, making fun of Texas and everything else. I lived in Texas. I still have family in Texas. I am not from North Dakota. I learned all this stuff. You guys, it's nobody's fault that you guys went through this and this happened. That it's just you have to think of the worst possible things now, and this is an unfortunate eye opener on what could happen. But your guys' homes, your guys' plumbing, your guys' utilities were never ever meant for these types of temperatures and this type of weather. And so you can't count on that every year now, especially with climate cycles happening on our earth and everything else happening. And nobody wants to lose their animals. I don't care if you have a gecko. I don't care if you've got a $500,000 lizard collection. It's really unfortunate. I feel for Blake Wilson losing those animals. I don't find it funny. I don't find it humorous. I don't try and show off, oh, you guys can't handle this. I try and help out as much as possible because I live in this situation 5 months out of the year. I dealt with it. When I first moved up here, I could not handle it. I thought I was never going to be able to live up here, but I got used to it. I learned the tips and tricks and everything else on how to handle this weather. But everybody, if they can help out with ideas or situations, should be doing that, because the animals are the most important. Your families are most important. And it's not really a joking matter. We can razz and have fun, but a lot of serious shit happened. And I don't want to see you guys go through that again. And I know, we like to show off expensive stuff and everything else, but not everybody has funds that they can divert. They have sick family members. They got kids that eat up every dime. They work 9 to 5 jobs, but they have their reptiles that they love. No different than having a dog and being poor. So, I understand that. And these little tips can possibly help save your animals if you don't have a lot of money. The generator aspect is obvious. Get a generator. You have a backup. plug it in, everything will be fine as long as you keep fuel in it and you keep your maintenance up on that generator. Because generators cost all the way up to $500,000. I got a Caterpillar generator on my fucking house. That thing costs $35,000. But you know, I've got young kids. I got kids with severe deadly allergies. I've got a lot of animals, and with the job that I have, I was able to afford that, and that's a luxury. I wasn't always able to do that. So I understand with the people that are freaking out, going, I can't afford a generator. How am I going to do this? Those little tips can help save your animals, and it doesn't cost as much as you think. But buy it now. Don't wait till next year. Go to your hardware store. Go to sporting goods store. Like if you can't get your heat packs from Reptile Direct or whatever, get some hot hands. They work the same way. They don't get as hot, so you have to buy more of them, but buy in bulk. You know, fresh cases of water, everything else. On the propane aspect like that, if you're going to do propane, if that's easier for you, I wouldn't recommend it for the whole time, but always have spare propane, have spare propane heaters. Don't just count on one thing, buy multiple, and always have a backup because you don't know what's going to happen.
Great advice. And I think the majority of us, well, just people in general will help each other out if they're able to. You know, first thing that comes to my head was that fucking douchebag, that ball pythons
101. Yeah.
That's great, you know, but that's pretty shitty. Keep that shit to yourself. I mean, that's how you feel, you know, keep it to yourself. Because I think most of us who've been doing this for a while have lost an animal or have lost collections.
Yep.
I have, and it's hard to come back from something like that, because I think most of us, we bond with these animals. It's not just a dollar sign. It's not just, it's not, I don't care how many, you know, you have or whatever, you know, we have our favorites, and to lose everything, the hell, just lose one animal. It's heartbreaking. So I know that guy, they did a video or something, and he supposedly, you know, apologized, you know, fuck him. He could suck
exactly
in the back, to come out and say shit like that. You know, you don't do that. You know, that's heartless. So fuck that guy.
That shows you what type of person. And the only reason that dude is apologizing is because the entire reptile community, from geckos to retics, went after him and totally slammed that dude. And that is the only reason he's apologizing, because Mr. I'm a business and my animals matter. I don't give a shit about yours. Your business just got fucked because you're not going to get another dollar off of this for your asinine comments. Now you're apologizing because you know your business is screwed. Well, have fun, because your business is screwed because you're an idiot.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're supposed to take care of your shit first, you know, by all means. But enough of that dude. I want to say something real quick, get off topic, because I have somebody who asked about Jake. Jake and I are really good friends, everybody. I've known Jake ever since he was literally a kid. There's no hard feelings or anything like that. He works like nighttime shifts. I get up at like 2:30 in the morning. So a lot of things that we try to do, it's just kind of hard because of our scheduling. So I mean, like I said, there's no hard feelings or anything like that. Wasn't like we're not having a divorce, not a breakup, anything like that. He wishes me all the best. I wish him all the best. I hope everything with whatever he's going to do, with his videos and podcasts, that he gets all the success that he wants from it, and you know, he succeeds. So like I said, there's it's just mainly scheduling and stuff, man. It's like if I wasn't off tomorrow, I wouldn't be doing this shit right now at this time, because this shit kills me. doing this, and then, like I said, getting up at 2:30 in the morning and get ready for work. But anyhow, enough of that. Like I said, Jake and I mean, he's like a little brother to me. So I love him and his family. All is good. So there's no bullshit going on. What else? What else? Do you have any more tips, buddy?
Well, battery powered stuff. There's quite a bit of battery powered little hand heaters and everything else. Go on Amazon. For stuff that you guys need UV animals that have to have UV, that obviously wouldn't get it. They make little UV handheld stuff that's battery powered. Buy a ton of batteries, get on Amazon, buy handheld heaters. They put off a little bit of heat, and handheld UV lights. Go to Amazon. They're not that expensive. Buy extra batteries, buy extra anything battery powered that can help with your heating and lighting situation. Buy it. And it's not expensive. It really is not. You can buy a lot of it, even if it's cheap stuff. Again, buy multiples. Be prepared. Invest in batteries. Always have it on hand.
Great advice. I think we should always, all of us should have batteries and shit like that. But anyhow,
Yep.
There's something else that I want to talk about. I think most people, if you have reptiles or whatever, you're seeing it. Everybody's talking about it. We have mentioned it. Jake and I have mentioned it every video, just about every video that you see from me is going to be mentioned because I think it's that important. And what I want to talk about is USARK. If you're not a member, I think you should become one. I think it's $40 to be a bronze member. And there's other things you can do. It costs a little bit more money, or you can just donate. They're really the only ones that are backing us, that have our back in any kind of way. So we need to grow the membership by all means. They need all the help they can get for lawyers and whatever else. Shit's not cheap. With a lot of with all this COVID bullshit, a lot of places are canceling shows and stuff like that. So, USARK is usually at shows. We do auctions and everything, and
they make a majority of their money at the Tinley auction.
At the NAR, all at the NARBC shows. And they've all been canceled. So become a member, donate. If once we're able to start doing shows, and if you're at a show and you see their table, give them $1. Buy one of those t-shirts, buy a sticker. Even if you're not going to become a member, buy something. Every little bit helps. I also have Chip on here because he's pretty well versed in all the laws and everything like that, and different politics and stuff. And a lot of people, I don't know if you truly understand that even though that USARK is for us reptile keepers, they don't necessarily back large constrictor keepers all that much.
Yep.
So for the people like us that have retics, anacondas, berms, rocks, anything like that, you should still donate. You should still become a member, but use your voice. You've got to use your voice. And because they need to know that, hey, we're important too. We don't want to be thrown underneath the bus. And right now we're the easiest target. I'm going to leave it alone from there, and I'm going to let Chip take over from there.
Well, I am going to go pretty in depth on it. I just want to give background for the audience. Not a lot of people know what I do or what I used to do. I went to Illinois State University for biology. Fishing has been my entire life. I worked with a lot of fisheries biologists. That's my main passion in life, is fish science and fish biology. And then, of course, reptiles. And I did that too. The late Gavin Brink was one of my mentors. People in Chicago that have ever been to the AAA shows or even NARBC, they meet the veterinarian there. His name's Jason Olchek. I went to school with him. Me and him went and did the same exact thing. He went on to become a veterinarian, and a very good one at that. But my world in fisheries biology, I've been involved with the Lacey Act long before snakes ever were considered, or reptiles that we dealt with since, you know, the early 2010s and such. Hold on. The fact of the matter is, the Lacey Act was put in place, as most of you know, some of you that are watching might not, for invasive species. We all know that the berms and the big snakes, it's all a BS thing play. But in the fisheries world, the big thing that has happened, and it is destroying ecosystems to this day in a massive amount, is invasive fish species. A lot of people don't know the common carp that people catch all around the country. That was an invasive species. The silver and bighead carp that are destroying rivers, that jump out of the water that we see everywhere, invasive, came out of Louisiana. Zebra mussels, snakeheads, gobies, the list goes on. That's what that was for transport. When USARK got involved to help us out with the large constrictors, I am grateful. I am not here to bash USARK. I want to get that clear. They do great things for the reptile hobby. And yes, exactly what James said, donate, become a member, give whatever you can. They are the only voice that goes to the Capitol and helps us out. My point is, when those animals were taken off the Lacey Act, that's all they did. They took them for interstate transport. But when they did that, the law now states that the Lacey Act, anything can happen. That means I can take an Asian carp from Indiana and bring it to Illinois and not be prosecuted for it. And that's pissing off U.S. Fish and Wildlife. That's pissing off every fisheries biologist and every, my brain just had a fart, plant biologist, because autumn olive is another one. Autumn olive is a type of bush tree that literally eats everything in a forest and constricts everything out of existence. And now somebody can go and take that, if they think it's pretty, and take it out of one state and put it in another and destroy it, where the Lacey Act was there to prevent all that. Well, now that can happen. So everything is going to fall back on the big constrictors because we got the Lacey Act lifted, and we're going to get screwed again. What needs to happen is they were supposed to get the large constrictors off, like not lifting the Lacey Act, but off the list. That's what needs to happen, because this is just going to keep on happening. U.S. Fish and Wildlife is going to keep on coming after, and it's not just going after the large constrictors, because they're going to be on the list forever unless we get them off. They're going for the Lacey Act to be enforced 100%. And so all of us large constrictor keepers need to talk to USARK every time we donate. Are you going to get that off the list? Are you working on getting off the list? What are you doing? I understand this state needs help. I understand the geckos and tegus need help, but we're raising money for you to help us out also. And this needs to happen. We need accountability from where our money's going. Because if we're donating $10,000 to help the ball pythons down in Mississippi, but they run out of money, and this goes back to Congress, and they win, we're screwed again. And it's going to be a revolving door with us fighting just the Lacey Act. Our main focus should be getting us off the list, making sure our money's going in the right direction. I understand that the whole reptile community needs to come together, and we need to help everybody out. But they're not looking. Your average person doesn't say leopard gecko, oh man, that thing's going to eat your dog. No, they're saying, oh yeah, anaconda, that thing ate J-Lo or whatever. Because everybody has a negative opinion. So they're focused on large constrictors. That's all they are. It's tunnel vision. And the Lacey Act is, and that's just by the people that don't like snakes. The people that are fighting for the Lacey Act is the U.S. Fish and Wildlife and the game wardens and the fisheries biologists and the plant biologists. And it's not because they hate snakes. It's because the Lacey Act was lifted completely, and they don't care about our constrictors. They care about the waterways and the plant life, and they're going to fight and put every ounces of resource to get that back in place. And it's not attacking us. It's the fact that our snakes are on their list. Whether they were there in the first place for a right reason or not doesn't matter. They need to be off. But they don't care about that. They just want the Lacey Act enacted. So we need to fight to get our animals off of that list completely in any way, shape, or form. And all the money we raise for that needs to be accounted for, because we're going to get left in the dark and you're not going to like it. And there's going to be a point to where it goes so far, USARK might not be able to help us.
I hope y'all listen to that, because it's the truth. I mean, everybody, you need to spread the word. I mean, you're seeing it all over Facebook and all of our groups now. But the thing about it is, in all reality, we should have been doing this from day one. We should have never stopped pushing USARK. We should have never stopped doing that. And what happens is we get complacent. Oh, yay, we won. Now we can ship our animals across state lines, so we think everything is great. But it never was. Exactly what, like Chip said, as long as they're still on that list, we're fucked. And if we don't come together, if we don't donate, if we don't use our voice, the worst is going to happen. Talk your mom into fucking becoming a member. You know what I mean? Like I that's what I do. I mean, I get my mother-in-law to fucking join up and everything, and she don't know anything about any of this stuff. Get as many people to become a member, that you can. Spread the word, talk about it.
Go to your anaconda groups, go to your from boas all the way up. Everything, we have every person that is watching this video and everybody else, we have the world at our fingertips. Everybody has a computer in their hand. You don't have to think that this is hearsay. Get on USGS and wildlife and everything else and look at the Lacey Act. Read the Lacey Act. Look at the list of species that are on the Lacey Act. And look at where every reptile is. They might have gotten on there for a bullshit reason that we all know of, and we're not going to change those kind of people's minds. It's not going to happen. I've worked in education for years, and there's people that are stubborn. You can change some, but not all. But those animals don't deserve to be on the list. And for people that don't really consider that, Shaughnessy's anacondas on that list. That's not even in this country. And there's very few reports, even in journals, about them. They're that freaking rare. And these people still believe that got this on the list, that these are released pets. I've got people in North Dakota that I had to fight in Bismarck, that the reason they wanted to ban large constrictors is because they think that python in Canada killed the 2 kids, and that if a python gets loose in Bismarck, North Dakota, that it's going to cause damage to the ecosystem, when we have maybe 1 week in the summertime that could sustain those animals before they're dead. The logic is not there. You can fight these people all you want. We're fighting the fisheries department to get everything off the list. As soon as we get it off the list, that's one big giant hurdle that is cleared. But it's not the only one, because you got HSUS and PETA and all the people that hate snakes still to go through. But they're not as bad of a hurdle as government entities that care about their waterways, land management, and everything else, and thousands and hundreds of thousands of fishermen and commercial fishermen in U.S. waterways that don't want invasive species. We can't compete with them. So we need to get that off the list immediately. And we need to account for every dollar. I understand, like I said before, and I know I'm repeating myself, I understand we need to come together as a reptile community group, but we have to know where our money is going and what exactly is getting done for large constrictors.
Exactly.
Every minute.
Yeah. And part of us needing to come together and be a group is the fact that it's great if Scott Hobson writes a letter, you know, or, you know, talks to Phil or whatever, but you look at, I've been an admin for the Retic Nation since day one. What we got, like
13,000 members.
13,000 members, and probably less than 1% of the members of that group are probably members of USARK, and it's fucking sad. Fucking sad.
Yeah.
I honestly, you know, I can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do, and at the end of the day, it's your money. You do whatever. But I truly believe in my heart that if you own any kind of reptile, that you should be a member, you know, and you should be donating whenever you can, you know. Not all of us have a lot of money and everything like that, but save up $40, become a fucking member. If you're at a show and you see the table, buy a $5 fucking bumper sticker, something. But that's when I'm talking about us coming together. I mean, that's what we need, because we need to be heard. There's a lot of people, even though the reptile community is actually small when you compared to everything else in the world, especially in even retics. The retic community is so small. You know, you think about, people always talk about how we have to watch how we breed and everything and all this other shit because of how many, you know, eggs, you know, a retic has, you know, large clutches and all this other stuff. Every fucking show you go to, every table is geckos and ball pythons. Depending on what show you go to, you probably don't even see any tables that are dedicated to just retics. Maybe one, if that. Usually it's a table that has a little bit of everything. So that's how small a group we are. Just retics.
Anaconda's even smaller. Rock's even smaller. You know, Berm's smaller.
Voice as big and as large as possible. You know, I know I like my animals. I want to keep them. I think everybody wants to keep their animals. Become a fucking member. Spread the word, and keep repeating until people get tired of it. Because, like I said, the fact that we got complacent and we stopped pushing all this, that's our own fucking fault. And I hope nothing bad happens, but at the end of the day, it's literally our fault. So we got to come together now, and we got to keep it going. And if we win one little battle, we got to keep on going until they're taken off the fucking list. That's it. I mean, that's all there is to it. I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, I just want to drive home a point real quick. So, being with the biology background that I have and the educational stuff that I did for years, I have, and in this state, I have every permit license that you can imagine. But you cannot imagine how much BS I have to go through, and how much paperwork and how much litigation it takes to have what I have, and people that sponsor you and back you to get what you have, just to have these animals for show or education. Now, of course, I went all around the country. I've gone to Canada and done stuff like that. CITES, all different types of CITES that I have. educational permits, business permits, insurance, all this. It's not really going to affect me, but I still fight. I have 2 USARK t-shirts and I have a nice fancy letter in my email with the nice USARK logo, because I don't think that just because I can keep what I can, and I'm probably not going to get affected because of my biology background and all this other crap. I'm not special. I want everybody to enjoy these animals. I want my daughters to be able to enjoy these animals when she gets older. You know, stop thinking about making the next hot thing, because as soon as that wall goes down, good luck, because you cared more about making the hot new morph than keeping your rights and making sure that you get to keep that animal. You buried yourself. And I know times are tough with everybody around the country. And that's when this litigation is going to happen the most, is when people are at their lowest point with the least amount of money, the least amount of fight, because they're worried about their jobs, they're worried about feeding their kids. That's when politicians and focus groups and all special interest and everything goes in and does their thing when nobody's paying attention. So try and dig deep, get a hold of USARK, talk, research, go on their website, look at the US laws, everything. Do your due diligence and take care of yourself, take care of your animals, take care of your community. $1 goes a long way if everybody pitches in.
100%, 100%. And I know we don't have, I'm going to repeat myself, and it is what it is. I don't give a fuck. We as large constrictor owners, we have to do better, most definitely. But it breaks my heart, literally, to see that how we don't have each other's backs in this community, and not just large constrictors, but we should have the ball python people's back, the gecko people, you know what I mean? And vice versa. Because the sad thing about it is that if these people think that they're not going to come after their shit, they're fucktarded. It's just that everybody knows that, we're head of the list. And it's like, well, fuck those guys. If when they come get them, then it's going to be, all calm for a while.
Well, we'll put it this
while, but they're going to fucking come for your shit. They're going to come for your fucking goldfish, everything.
Now, I'm going to say this in the most polite way possible, but compared to ball pythons and leopard geckos, we aren't shit. Now, think about this argument. Don't ban large constrictors because it's a livelihood for a lot of people and a lot of industry and everything else. Bullshit. There's barely any cages out there being made in mass production for large constrictors. There's nothing focused really on large constrictors as business, even feeders. You go to ball pythons and leopard geckos, there's $1 million companies, multiple, making caging, racks, food, bedding, lighting, habitat, water bowls, everything for these animals. $1 million companies that have unlimited funds, that if ball pythons and leopard geckos get taken down, they're losing everything. So what are they going to focus on? They're going to focus on ball pythons and leopard geckos and saving their ass. And if we got to be the sacrificial lamb to get the heat off of them, you're damn right they're going to do it. I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's true. They have millions and millions and even billions in leopard geckos and ball pythons investments. There's facilities all around this country that are $1 million facilities just for ball pythons and building cages. Freedom Breeder focuses on ball pythons and geckos. They don't focus on retics and berms. ARS, all this stuff. That's what they focus on. If they lose that, their company goes under, all those employees are gone, and they lose a ton of money. So they're not really going to be focused on somebody that can buy a rack every couple of years for their hatchling reticks.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And man, this is it's the truth. Truth fucking hurts, buddy. The thing about it is that I think a lot of us already knew this, and complacency is a bitch, and we just let ourselves down, and we got to come back fighting. That's all there is to it.
Absolutely.
I don't know what else to say when it comes to USARK. Become a fucking member. Get as many people to become a member that you can, and speak up.
Yes. You have to let your voice be heard. That is the point of this. We are not saying not support USARK. So people that are taking that the wrong way, get that out of your head. We are saying 100% support USARK. But if you're a large constrictor keeper, find out where your money is going. Find out what they are doing. And if they aren't doing something to the satisfaction, push it. Be like, we can get more money, but we want it to go here. We need this from you guys. They've got a lot on their plate, and I understand that. But if we're laid back and not holding people accountable with our money for the animals we care about, they're gone, flat out. That's it.
Pretty much. And the whole thing about it is like, even though that we're talking about how we need to speak up and talk to them about where the money's going and stuff like that. I still think it's important that we're fighting for the ball python people, that we're fighting for the gecko people, that we're fighting, but once again, like we've been talking about, they're coming for our ass. They're coming for your fucking reticks and whatever, berms, anacondas, fucking African rocks, whatever, fucking scrubs, whatever it is that you have. They're
boa constrictors.
So just just know that it's gonna be tough. So everybody needs to make a decision whether, I honestly think that if you're selling animals, do you want to buy an animal? Are you a member? Well, okay, well, you need to be a member if you want to purchase this animal. I think Aubrey's doing something pretty cool about I don't want to read it, but something about like,
if you can't afford to be a member, he will help you become a member if you're purchasing his animal.
If you're breeding, if you're a breeder, I think that's great. You buy somebody buys an animal from you, they're not a member, you send that money that they use for that animal to help them become a member, or whatever the case may be. We gotta, anybody that's breeding, do your part. Don't just get on and type a bunch of shit or make a video and preach about becoming a member and everything like that. If you're able to do something like that because you are breeding, you're making some kind of money through your hatchlings and stuff like that, I think that's a great idea, and I'll applaud those guys. I know Aubrey's doing it. Gavin and them, they're going to be doing it. I saw. I think Jake even said something about him doing it. So any breeder, I don't give a shit what it is. I don't care if it's ball pythons. I don't care what it is. If you're going to get on board and do that, I think that's awesome, and I applaud you. Every little bit helps. So,
a thing I wanted to touch on too about coming together as a large constrictor community. There's issues in this community that I see all the time. One of them is not necessarily the old schoolers or even guys that have been around for 10 years. The new guys that are getting into reticks. I am glad we got new people. That is great. Enjoy the animals. We have to watch what we say, how we say it, how we go about it. If there's a post on Instagram or Facebook and someone talks about, oh, the Burmese pythons and they eat kids and they're destroying the Everglades and all that stuff. Be respectful and careful how you word things. You are being watched more than you know, because there's members of HSUS and PETA in every little forum out there that post this stuff, and they just need a few screenshots or a few pictures of a large constrictor keeper bashing, using foul language, threatening, calling somebody names. Look at how ignorant these people are, and they're keeping these big animals and blah, blah, blah. I understand we're passionate about what we do, and a lot of us are a little crazy for what we do. But we need to be held accountable and watch how we say things to people that are not in our community, because we are being watched. And anything negative will be used against us in every way, shape, or form.
No, you're right. And, here I am. I cuss like a fucking sailor. So,
well, you don't attack people. That's, I mean, yeah, everybody's foul mouthed.
Not anymore. But, it's true. We're being watched. I don't know. It just it so much has changed since when we first got into this shit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Never thought in a million years that any of this would go down.
Yeah, no, a lot of people don't know who I was way back in the 90s and stuff, because I was local, guys. I didn't get on the forums till way later. And then, 2010, 11, get on Retake Nation, Facebook, and all this. But between my parents and myself, we've gone all the way back to the 80s with these big animals. I started out in alligators and Burmese and retakes, and it was way different back then. But with social media, everything is being held accountable and everything is going bad, and our voices can be covered up real quick.
As much as I love technology, I love change. I don't know. Well, I don't want to say I love change, but it's going to happen. So you might as well go with it. And that's my mentality. But sometimes I miss, man, the old school days of being underground, just, but those days are over and done with. It is what it is. And this is what we're dealing with. And hopefully everybody's going to step to the plate. Hopefully everybody's going to want to, and,
and if you need help with donating or getting a hold of USARK or becoming a member, reach out to one of the admins. Reach out to one of the people you see posting all the time. These people will help you. Don't worry. Don't think, I don't want to look like a noob, or I don't want to look like an idiot. We need help. Ask for help with helping yourself and with the community. There's no shame in it.
None at all. I mean, we were all new at one point in time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It is what it is, man. I don't know. If this shit doesn't make you nervous, if you don't love your animals to the point where this is making you nervous, then you shouldn't even fucking own them. You shouldn't be fucking here watching this. You shouldn't be in any of these groups, because evidently you don't care. And if you don't care, we sure as hell don't need you. We don't need that kind of negativity is what I'm getting at.
Exactly.
So I don't know what else to add, man. At the very beginning of this, we were talking about some of the things that happened in Texas, and, Chip over here, he lives up north. He lives up in North Dakota, and he gave a lot of good tips. I know it's going to help me be more prepared for shit like this to happen if it happens again here in Texas. Hopefully anybody who lives in the South and who will watch this will learn something. A lot of good tips. And then, of course, last part of it, we're talking about USARK and how important it is to become a member and use your voice. You have anything to add, bud?
No, just guys, if anybody in the South and the Texas area is having any issues, feel free to reach out to me with any tips if you need it. I'm here. I do work. I will get to your message as soon as possible. I'll try and help you out and point you in the right directions. Same with the USARK stuff. If you need to reach out, I'm always here. I have an educational page. I'm not too active on it, but I do read the messages. That's on my profile. So just get on USARK if you're watching this right now. If you're not, when this video ends, get on their website, sign up, order a shirt, whatever you need to do. Just get supporting them, and let's start holding accountable for where the money goes and help our community out. Come together. Let's get this going.
Yeah, I think that's about all I got, and we're probably going to end it here soon. Once again, I want to thank everybody who is supporting the channel. Please like, subscribe, share. We're going to have a lot more videos like this. Other things coming on. Once my snake room is up to where I feel like it needs to be, I will be doing more videos of the animals that are in here and that kind of thing. You're going to be seeing Chip a lot more, I'm sure. Send us ideas, anything that you want to talk about, any topics or anything like that. Let us know. And like I said, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Thank y'all so much. Holla.
Thank you, guys.